there is a universe of over-the-counter products for brain health and everything else that have no scientific backing that support them. I was watching television last night, and there was a commercial for Prevagen. Prevagen is being sued by the Federal Trade Commission for false and deceptive advertising. The FDA has issued warnings over their product. Their product claims to help memory. And they're very, very well done commercials that would be convincing that if you take Prevagen, you're going to improve your memory. Absolutely no scientific evidence to support that. Yet they sell hundreds of millions of dollars of product.
Yeah.
And you go down the list of, ginkgo biloba, is an over-the-counter, supposed to be memory enhancing. Absolutely no scientific evidence to support that. So I don't know if there's a question in there somewhere. I just find it problematic that there's billions of dollars being spent by consumers taking things with the belief that there's some scientific evidence that it's going to help them, with absolutely no support for that.
Yeah, and supplements don't have to get approved by the FDA.
Right.
And so that's the main reason. So they don't have to go through the cost. The cost is huge.
Exactly.
And I will tell you, a lot of the supplement companies are well-intended, and they do some research, but they don't have to spend the money that like a typical like a drug, that a pill you would take that would be considered a drug, or an injection. Just supplements are exempt from the FDA approval process, and that's the reason that you don't see a lot of science. And then they become marketing companies.
Yes.
But I will say that there are, you'll see some of the best doctors in the world say these are some good supplements that work for me. There's no science that backs it, but from what I've seen, it works well on my patients.
Right.
So I wouldn't just say these things don't work.
Right.
But they don't go through the scientific rigor, and the term that scientists use is evidence-based, meaning they go through the scientific rigor. Most of them are not evidence-based, and it's just they don't have to spend the money, so why? And if you're making that much money in just getting testimonials, and I'm not trying to knock these companies, because I think there's some supplements that either work or the placebo effect is. We could have a whole talk on that.
Right.
The placebo effect. If you think something's going to work, there's strong scientific evidence that biologically it changes your brain just because you think it might change your brain.
Right.
So these supplements might improve people's memories. It's just they haven't gone through the scientific rigor of control groups and saying, okay, if we isolate this supplement alone, does it improve cognitive performance? I don't know the details of this company. I've heard of it, of course. It's a pretty well-known name, but I've not studied their website to see what kind of research they publish. But yeah, I call it pop science, where people talk about things, whether it's Instagram or social media or advertising, that hasn't gone through the scientific rigor. And I'm not going to invest in things like that. So even if I have let's just say there's a supplement that I personally just love, which there isn't one actually. Let's just say there was. Okay, let's just say that I found this one, and my energy level is higher, I sleep better, my cognitive performance is better, but there's no science to back it. I'm not going to invest in it because that's a deal breaker for me.
Right. And to that point, the cost to go through FDA approval process, which is multiple stages, and the time that it takes to get through that process is significant.
Yeah.
Personally, I've invested in a number of young companies over the years. My batting average is probably 1 out of 10. Having said that, the one that worked paid for the 9 that didn't. My personal outcomes may not bear any resemblance to what you'll achieve. But what I found was that it's easy to fall in love with an early stage company that's promising a solution to a very large problem. But the cost to get there, some of them just were never able to raise the capital to fund getting through, and they weren't able to attract an upstream pharma that would buy them. So it's interesting to hear that in the brain space, because there's less activity there, that you're able to buy at better valuations.
Yeah, today I'm seeing that. It might change fast because I think that as more people are moving in the space, so like, for example, neurotech. So a lot of these are like devices or that you either wear or implant That's one of the hottest markets in healthcare right now.
Right.
So it's getting a lot of funding. If anything, it's a bit too hot. So that area, it's very popular right now. And an example would be like Elon Musk's Neuralink.
Right.
So that's a highly invasive, you implant the device deep inside your brain. There's other neurotech that it's like light therapy or ultrasound therapy, or a hat you wear to help, a headband to help you sleep better, or a ring or something like that. There's other types, but that's become, if anything, hot. There's actually a guy that just, for a full-time job, he just follows the neurotech market and gets paid well for people just to get access to his data.
Well, anything that Musk is involved in is going to attract
Yeah,
attention.
so,
And he has articulated a vision for Neuralink, and it is that ultimately you will be able to upload and download intelligence, merging artificial intelligence and human intelligence. So in essence, your brain will be uploaded into the cloud. You'll be able to access intelligence and basically import that into your brain. It's very futuristic, and it's both really intriguing and really scary.
Yeah, and I think it's, I analogize it to like pacemakers for your heart. Someone told you need a pacemaker today, you'd probably say, I really don't want one, but I'll do it. You wouldn't say that's crazy. But I guarantee the first time when they introduced pacemakers, I think it was back in the 60s, I'm not 100% sure when, but say around the 60s. But like these brain implants, people might think sound crazy, but I think down the road, it's going to be pretty normal. I think when the Center for Brain Health, we got a good chunk of funding from DARPA, which is the government's big innovation hub. If you've not heard much about it, it's a whole separate discussion. But for example, they created the internet back in the 60s. So they did all kinds of stuff. And so they gave us money for brain work. But they made us have a sociologist on our study because they said, if what you're doing actually works, you need a sociologist in there to help. How are you going to pitch it to people so they'll actually do it? Kind of like these implantables, right?
Right.
So chip in your head sounds far-fetched, but I think in the future it's not going to be far-fetched, because if it helps you with your mental health or helps you with dementia, you're going to do it.